But real quick, we have to do a victory lap because there was a trade that we nailed.
We did, and everybody laughed at us for even suggesting it.
Welcome back to Sports Talk with Dad, and man, what a show do we have for you today. My name is Kyle. As always, I cannot call this Sports Talk with Dad without the man sitting next to me, a man who is as old as this random can of tennis balls you found. Where did you find this?
Number one, I'm not as old as that can. I never use a sardine opener for tennis balls. However, let me say this. You are as old as a quarterback, superstar quarterback, that they said yesterday was on the declining years of his career.
Listen, we're not reversing this game.
I think we are.
I don't like that.
No,
the fans of this show don't want to hear how old I am. They like it the way we have it.
I think the dads out there that watch us are cheering me on right now because you and Russell Wilson are at the same age, and it was said that he's on the declining stages of his career. You're the same age.
I don't like this game being switched. Let him know in the comments below that is not how this works, and we only make old jokes in this direction. I'm not there yet. Listen,
apparently you are.
He's still playing, so I'm still there. But speaking of old things you have, I did some snooping in the basement the other day, and
you found the Foot Lockers.
I found your baseball cards.
They're back there.
How many cards do you have?
I've got thousands. I know for a fact that I've got every Topps card from 1967 or 8 through a couple years ago. And I know the oldest card I have is a 1929 Babe Ruth card. I don't know if they're worth $5. I don't know if they're worth $50.
I think that might be an episode we have to do, is just going through those cards. If that's something you guys want to see, let us know in the comments below. Make a vote, and we would love to do a video on that. But it's gonna take us several days to go through those cards. You have like 10 Foot Lockers back there. Something
like that. If there's anybody who knows about baseball cards and can tell me, are they worth anything at this point? I don't know if they're still collectible, to be honest with you.
I mean, Topps isn't a part of baseball cards anymore, so I got to assume just for that they're worth something. But I think that's for another episode.
Correct.
But again, let us know if that's an episode you guys want to see. Let us know in the comments below here. And while you're down there, like, subscribe, hit the notification bell so you get notified every time we drop an episode, and you can enjoy this show as much as we enjoy making it. But real quick, we have to do a victory lap because there was a trade that we nailed.
We did, and everybody laughed at us for even suggesting it.
Aaron Rodgers, Russell Wilson trade, and I know you're going to say this and I interrupted you. I apologize.
It happens, folks.
But I truly believe that Aaron Rodgers was going to go to Denver if he decided to, and that Russell Wilson was going to Green Bay.
I think the trades were locked in place, that if Rodgers did A and went to Denver, the draft pick still would have went to Green Bay, but then Green Bay was going to send them to Seattle, and Wilson was coming to Green Bay.
Yeah, it just would have been a roundabout 3-team trade. Mm-hmm. For how quickly that trade happened after Rodgers made that decision, there had to be something in place already that said, we're just going to wait for Rodgers' decision here on where he's going to go. And then like we talked about, then the dominoes fall. He was the first domino to fall. But that lets, I think, everybody know, especially us know, that we were right.
We were exactly right.
Rodgers was going to go to Denver if he decided to. Mm-hmm. That was on the table. And that Russell Wilson was going to be coming to Green Bay had that decision been made.
There was only one team the Packers were even going to consider trading him to, That was Denver.
Correct.
And they have a team that's set up to win right now. They were not going to entrust the team with Devontae Adams and the running backs that we have to Jordan Love. They just weren't going to do it.
No, they weren't. Not when we're in a win now mode the way that the Packers are. But I'm happy with the way it went down. I am. I'm glad Rodgers stayed.
I've heard a lot of Packer fans, not to interrupt, but I've heard a ton of Packer fans saying he should have went. We're tired of him. Folks, he's one of 2 or 3 people on the planet that can do what he can do. Does he have issues in the playoffs? Yeah, they've got to get over that hump.
Right.
But
I'd rather be in the conversation every year.
My
wife's a Bears fan, and I can tell you what, I'm happy that we don't have that problem.
We have a very, very good friend that's a Bears fan that would be dying to be in the position we are. Aaron Rodgers on the Green Bay Packers, as you said, puts us in the Super Bowl conversation every single year.
Right.
And the same thing would have happened with Russell Wilson if he would have been under center in Green Bay. And I think Wilson would have loved to have come back to Wisconsin to play ball.
Yeah, I do too. I think he's much happier in Denver. I'm much happier with Aaron Rodgers being in Green Bay because, like it or not, Russell Wilson's shorter than me. And as he gets older, he's going to scramble less and less and less, and he's going to have a hard time seeing over those offensive linemen.
They say he's shrinking a little like you're doing because you are the same age as Russell Wilson.
Stop it. Russell Wilson is an all-star player. He's a perennial all-pro. He's not old at all. He's not declining. I'm not declining. Stop it. I had enough trouble with this at 30. I don't need this coming into my 30 year now.
30 hurt. But I could have seen easily Russell Wilson throwing to Devontae Adams. Yeah, the play calling would have had to change because he does have to. Wilson's the kind of guy you've got to keep him on the move. He's not a pocket passer. Sorry about that. The way that Rodgers can be.
No.
But he is a Super Bowl caliber quarterback.
Yeah, for sure. He's won a Super Bowl. He's been to 2. Bad play call kept him from winning a second one. And then all of a sudden, more dominoes fall, where Carson Wentz becomes a Washington commie.
Hey, this guy's a commie!
Is that our new name for him? What is the
Pat
name?
McAfee. It's Commanders.
It's Commanders.
Pat McAfee has all the credit for calling him the commies, and I'm going to roll with it because I think it's amazing because Commanders is a dumb name.
Worst team name ever. But Carson Wentz was a good quarterback. He is a good quarterback. I don't think he's going to put Washington over the top. That leaves a huge hole for Indianapolis to fill.
He could. The East is not anything to write home about. The Giants are terrible.
The Giants are looking at trying to get Kirk Cousins.
It's possible. The Cowboys are solid if Dak can stay healthy. You got Washington, who's been a quarterback away for a long time.
The Eagles.
And you have the Eagles. I don't trust Jalen Hurts personally, so I mean it's wide open. That's a division that could be either really good or really bad any given year.
Look, I think the Packers are once again the dominant team in the North.
Correct.
The East is wide open, but there are a lot of quarterback holes to fill. What's Tampa Bay going to do? What's Seattle going to do for a quarterback now? I've heard one of them wants Jordan Love badly.
The Colts do, because the Colts are going to draft him, but they didn't have a draft pick. So there's a big conversation with the Colts. And I tell you what, if Gutekunst can flip Jordan Love for a second-round pick to Indianapolis, I mean, way to win.
Goody just redeemed himself a little bit.
And I don't mind having Jordan Love as a backup. I mean, he can sit there.
I do.
It's fine, but it's time for him to go. I will tell you, though, again, I got to find a way to get Brian on here because he's had some really good insights that I've stolen from him, and I think he deserves to be on here to have the credit for these. But he made a great point saying the NFC is wide open. He really pointed it out, like, who else is there? The AFC is stacked.
They are, and Russell Wilson's going to have to get through an incredibly tough division just in the AFC West. Now, Is any quarterback afraid of that? No. So for the people saying, well, Rodgers didn't want to go there because of the competition, that doesn't even enter.
Rodgers' best quarterback in the league.
Yes,
He's
by far.
reigning 2-time MVP.
I'll make another prediction for you. I would not be surprised at all to see Tom Brady back and playing for San Francisco this year. I know some other people have rumored that
he's backed off his retirement comments. I still don't think he's coming back, but who else is there in the NFC?
It's a short list. I mean, Kirk Cousins is considered one of the top quarterbacks. You've got Matthew Stafford out in Los Angeles, but is that team going to be as strong this year? Von Miller's already said he's gone.
He's going back to Denver.
He's going to Denver. I'd love to see him in Green Bay.
Now that they got Russell Wilson, Von Miller's going back home.
Yeah,
he loved it in Denver.
Denver's a great place to play.
He's going to come back.
So there's not a ton of. I mean, you've got Arizona with Kyler, and that's up in the air whether he'll be back.
Right.
Houston on the AFC side is a complete mess. New Orleans is probably going to go with Teddy Bridgewater. Talk about a story of what should have been.
Or stick with Jameis Winston. I just pulled up the NFL teams here. You look on the NFC side, there's just not really anybody there. What's Seattle going to do at quarterback? What's the Vikings? They got to do something with the $45 million cap hit that Kirk Cousins is going to have. I could see Kirk Cousins going to Indianapolis as well. I think that's a good pick. I'd say one quarterback to watch out for that could be on the move that nobody's talking about is Matt Ryan.
He could be. He's another one. Atlanta doesn't know what they've got, and they haven't worked with him in the proper way. I think a new set of scenery for Matt Ryan would be incredibly beneficial.
I think so too. Who does he have? He has Kyle Pitts. His number one receiver just got suspended for a year for gambling. Who's he going to throw the ball to?
So where do you see Ryan going?
I could see Seattle flipping one of the picks they just got and bringing in Matt Ryan into Seattle and having Drew Lock as the heir apparent.
The question in Seattle, Russell Wilson didn't get along with Pete Carroll, especially towards the end. That relationship had soured. So other quarterbacks having to go there, are they going to worry about playing for Pete Carroll at this point? I mean, the man is 100 years old.
He's an old coach, but he's a winning coach. I mean, he won in college. He's now won in the NFL.
But he's not an offensive coach. He is a defensive coach.
Here's where Pete Carroll is. Pete Carroll is a running coach. Pete Carroll believes heavily in the run game. His best teams were with solid defenses and a solid run game, and that's what they're going to need to go back to. And I think having Matt Ryan there, who can threaten making those throws, and then still having a solid running game and using that to build back up that offensive line, the picks they just got. You got Noah Fant there, who is a very good player.
Look, the first free agent quarterback to fall will be Mitch Trubisky, who was...
I've heard Giants. I've heard Colts.
Talk about another example of where the Bears destroyed a quarterback.
Yeah, he looked really good in Buffalo.
He did. So I think he's going to... Indianapolis, I've heard. Giants, maybe Tampa Bay.
Right. I mean, because you have a super weak quarterback market in the draft right now. And you have a lot of quarterbacks in the NFL that can play. Right now, I mean, Robert Griffin III is still out there. Now, I know he's been hurt, but he's killing it in the analyst game. He's fun to listen to, but sure. I could see him coming back. You mentioned Tom Brady maybe coming back. You know, if I'm one of these teams, I'm calling Andrew Luck right now and saying, hey, you still want to play? I'd love to see you here.
He's out. This will be his third year out, or he's already been out 3 years. I don't think he's coming back at this point. That being said, there's not a lot of quarterbacks. I said on our last show that there'd be 5 quarterbacks taken in the first round. I still stand by that because there is such a need for quarterbacks in this league. It's quarterback driven, and there's only 32 job openings.
With the way that the quarterbacks are moving right now, I feel a lot more confident with our bet that there may be one quarterback going in the first round with the way things are moving. But I pulled up the NFL teams. I mean, let's look at who still needs a quarterback. The Bills are set. They're Josh Allen's amazing. You have the Ravens. They're set with Lamar Jackson. He's going to be their long-term solution. You have the Texans. I don't even know who they have on their roster anymore.
Deshaun Watson, the evidence is presented on Friday.
He's not coming
back.
He's going to be suspended
done.
the whole year. There's way too much smoke there for Deshaun Watson. If I'm the Texans, if I'm the NFL, I cut my losses. I'm like, listen, we're done with this. I don't want to deal with it anymore. So they need a quarterback. Who's going to go there? Teddy Bridgewater could definitely go there. Lovie Smith is an unbelievable coach. He'll figure it out. You have the Broncos. They're obviously set now. The Cowboys are set. The Bears, you got to run with
Justin
Fields at this point. The Falcons, you have Matt Ryan.
But you need to move on from him.
I think they need to flip Matt Ryan for some picks at this point. I think there's still enough of a market for him. And again, a different scenery, I think it'd be great.
I think he could be just like Matt Stafford and revitalize his career.
Yeah, I think Matt Stafford's a much better quarterback, but
Matt Ryan at one time was considered one of the elites.
Yeah, Matty Ice, man.
He's got the arm, he's got the talent. He's just got to get someplace where it'll be nurtured and where it's not on his arm to win every game.
Correct. The one time he actually had a good offensive line in a running game, he took him to the Super Bowl.
Correct.
Choked, but I think that was more to do with coaching, letting off the gas. You have Arizona. Kyler Murray doesn't have a choice. There's not going to be a baseball season this year, so where are you going to go? The Dolphins are going to roll with Tua. The Bengals obviously set with the Lord and Savior of the NFL, Joe Burrow.
I know. Speaking of Miami, though, I'm not convinced they're in love with Tua. They'll roll with him, but I still think they're lurking and looking for the other option.
You could. I mean, Deshaun Watson was on the table. I think that's a trade they truly wanted to make. But Tua showed flashes last year. At some point, the guy's been hurt since he was in college. At some point, you have to see what you got.
I think they know what they've got, and they aren't happy with it. I think they'd like to move on for him. They may trade him. That would be a good fit in Seattle.
Maybe. I'm going to assume he's staying there. Clearly, I was wrong because on Tuesday I said all the quarterbacks were staying, and that didn't happen. So who knows? You're probably better off than I am. The Colts, they obviously need somebody. There's been rumor with Jordan Love, like we just talked about. I could see Matt Ryan going to Indianapolis. That would be a big move.
I think Trubisky goes there if it's not Jordan Love.
Trubisky makes sense there as well. Kirk Cousins is in the running for Indianapolis. They have a team ready to win.
They do. I think Cousins is ticketed for the Giants.
Yeah, well, and the big thing is apparently a big reason they were done with Carson Wentz, from what I've heard from reports, is Carson Wentz kept checking out of running plays for throwing plays.
When you've got Jonathan Taylor behind you?
When you got a second place in the MVP race, and he's checking out of the plays the coaches are calling for throwing plays when the guy's got two ankles that are broken.
Rodgers did that when they had Mike McCarthy there. Different scenario, but, I mean, if you got Jonathan Taylor, get the ball to him.
Right.
He's the playmaker.
Right.
I think Dallas is on their last year with McCarthy.
Yeah, Sean Payton's going to be right there.
So it's Super Bowl or bust.
Super Bowl or bust. You got the Chiefs. I mean, they could use a quarterback.
Sure.
I don't think they have a good solution there.
No, they don't. They don't. I mean, that kid, they thought it was good, but that kid just doesn't have it.
The Giants, they say they're going to roll with Daniel Jones. I don't know what they're going to do. The Lions are stupid if they bring in another quarterback. Just roll with Jared Goff.
Well, I could see them bringing in. They're going to draft a quarterback. If they can get one of the top 5, they'll draft just to have him there so that in 3 or 4 years.
Overall pick. They are. I'm sorry, Lions fans, but you are dumb if your team drafts a quarterback in the first round.
They've got what, the 32nd pick?
If
that's where they're going to draft
Malik Willis or Kenny Pickett are there with the 32nd pick, yes, make the draft.
You've got to get offensive line help in Detroit.
You've got too many holes to fill.
Right. You're not taking a quarterback with the number 2 pick. I agree with that.
You got Jared Goff there. Roll with him. He's taking a team to a Super Bowl.
They'll take a wide receiver.
They could take a wide receiver. It worked once out of 4 times.
1 out of 4. But they did get Megatron with that. So
what do you think the Panthers do?
Are they going to roll with Bradford?
Darnold.
Or Darnold?
Bradford's gone.
Same
Darnold.
Same. Right. Are they going to roll with that? I don't think so.
I said they would, but again, I was very wrong on Tuesday with thinking everybody was going to stay.
I think they're going to draft somebody.
I could see them drafting somebody, but for this year, I think they're going to go with Darnold again. The Rams are obviously set. The Patriots are set. The Browns are set for this year.
I don't think the Browns are set. I don't think the Browns are set at all. I don't think they want Baker Mayfield. They could either trade him or they're drafting somebody. They are not in love with Mayfield, so I disagree with you there.
You got to give him one more year. The dude's been hurt nonstop. The only reason I think Mayfield is in trouble is because why weren't you getting the ball to OBJ?
Exactly.
You've been proven wrong now. That was the wrong decision.
And was that a coaching decision, or was that Baker Mayfield just not
guy throwing the ball? As a quarterback, you need to look for your best players.
And if you didn't throw to OBJ, it's time for you not to be our quarterback anymore.
I agree. Jaguars, Trevor Lawrence is going to be there for a while. Justin Herbert with the Chargers. The Eagles have 3 first-round picks.
They're picking a quarterback.
They're probably picking a quarterback, especially if Malik Willis falls to them. I'd make that pick.
I could see them also making a big trade to try to go and get one of the big-name quarterbacks using some of their first-round picks.
Right. Packers, I think we draft another first-round quarterback because clearly that led to 2 MVPs for Aaron Rodgers.
You got to keep that chip on his shoulder. At some point,
try it again.
In all seriousness, they've got to talk to Rodgers and go, we need your help evaluating some of these college kids because we do have, in the next 2 to 3 years, we have to draft heir apparent.
I think the big thing that they're looking at right now, because the contract hasn't been signed yet, right?
Correct.
It ended up being a false report. I think they're waiting till free agency to look at it and say, hey, we need your help here. These are the players we want to bring in. We need to make sure your contract fits within this so we can make a true run. Wagner's available. The Cardinals just released Hicks, who is their starting linebacker there. There's a lot of good talent on the market right now.
And I think, honestly, I do not think that Rodgers is going to announce his contract signed until Devontae Adams is also signed.
I agree. They're working with him together and saying, listen, these are the guys we want to bring in. This is the contracts we need to fit into it. It was smart to tag him just because I'm not going to let you hit the market. But again, if we want to draft another first-round quarterback and it leads to Aaron Rodgers winning 2 more MVPs, I'm okay with it. But let's get some receiver help because we have none.
Right. Or tight end help. Or there's still holes on that team.
Right. Could the Saints take Garoppolo?
I think Garoppolo would be a good fit there if he's healthy. I think Garoppolo, he's proven he can win. Like him or not, he's not the flashiest quarterback, but he wins.
He is the best looking quarterback to ever play in the NFL.
Could I see him in New York? Could I see him in Indianapolis? Could I see him in Cleveland? Yes to all 3. Could I see him in Tampa Bay?
No. He's not going to.
He's not following Brady again.
Can you imagine if Brady goes to San Francisco and wins a Super Bowl in San Francisco after Garoppolo leaves? I mean, as Garoppolo, you just have to hate Tom Brady.
You do, but, he's gotten a lot of big checks because of that.
He has. San Francisco, at some point, you got to roll with Trey Lance. I think it's Trey Lance or Tom Brady.
I think they've got to roll with him. I don't think they're happy about rolling with him.
Problem is that Tom Brady is under contract with Tampa Bay. And Bruce Arians has already come out and say, you want to offer us 5 first-round draft picks, you can have them.
There's always ways to work a deal. I think that could happen. I mean,
I think Glazer just releases them, honestly.
I do too.
As the owner, he brought you a Super Bowl.
Thank him and move on with your life.
Correct.
Las Vegas is set for a quarterback.
There's been rumors about him being traded.
I could see that happening.
I could see Derek Carr to the Colts. I could see Derek Carr to the Giants. I could see Derek Carr to Tampa Bay.
I could also see them drafting a quarterback. I don't think it'd be the smart thing to do because you're not going to be upgrading from Derek Carr.
Not in this draft.
I could see him doing it.
The Jets, you got to roll with Wilson. That's a mess there. Pittsburgh
got to do something.
Pittsburgh's an interesting one because...
Well, they like to build from the draft. They
do, but Mason Rudolph isn't the answer.
No, he's not. Could I see them doing a stopgap by bringing in one of the quarterbacks? Maybe. But again, they really like to build from within. They're not one to go and make a big splash and a big trade for a position like quarterback.
They're not, but Mike Tomlin's a guy I'm sure would be willing to take the risk. I could see Garoppolo in Pittsburgh. I think
I
that'd
could
be a
see
good
that.
fit.
I do too.
I could see, like you said, they really don't trade for that type of stuff.
Trubisky
could be a fit there. I don't think Trubisky's going to Pittsburgh. I don't really think he fits.
I think they'd love to get Willis.
They love to get Willis. I think Kenny Pickett would be a good fit there. And Pittsburgh guy, it's a lot of pressure, but
I don't think that's fair for Pickett to go there at all.
I don't either.
They got to do
Bridgewater
something. Bridgewater
could be a stopgap there. I mean, again, you said I always feel bad for Teddy Bridgewater. I remember when he was drafted, I was terrified that he was in Minnesota because he should have been a perennial All-Pro. His knee just exploded.
He was going to be a superstar. I mean, it would have been the Packers and the Vikings head to head.
He was like a Michael Vick, Robert Griffin III hybrid. He was awesome.
Yes, he was. He was one of the best quarterbacks in the league, and then just a fluke injury.
Non-contact. His knee just blew up.
Yeah. And I think he's still got the skills, but he doesn't have the mobility that he once did.
No, he didn't, and that was a big part of his game.
Mm-hmm.
So Pittsburgh is an interesting one. They're going to need a stopgap. I just don't think there's a quarterback in there that you're going to build around to draft. Here's one for you. This is interesting. So you got the Tennessee Titans. What about Tannehill? Can Tannehill be traded?
Why would you? If you could get a big name quarterback, if you put Kirk Cousins on that team, would it be better than Tannehill? I'm not sure.
You just paid him. If I'm Pittsburgh, I make the phone call.
Sure. I think Tannehill would be a stopgap for a year in Pittsburgh.
But you're not going to eat that contract for a year.
I know quarterbacks hate being called this, but he defines game manager.
Yeah, he's not going to make a mistake. I mean, I think that needs to be changed from game manager to a guy who's not going to cost you the game late in the fourth quarter.
I think Tannehill to Indianapolis makes more sense to me.
Yeah, it does. It's going to take a first-round pick to get him, though.
Yeah, I don't think anybody gives up a first-rounder for him.
Washington set. Vikings, they have to figure out what to do with Kirk Cousins. I mean, being a Packer fan, they can sit there with the $45 million cap hit. I don't care. But they're going to have to figure out what to do. I mean, Kirk Cousins has been that. The Vikings are a team that should be better.
They should. Cousins is, I think, serviceable is a good word for him. He will win games he shouldn't win.
He's
got the talent.
Years.
He was a third-round draft pick in that Robert Griffin III year and Andrew Luck year, and I think he's turned out to be the best of all of them. Not talent-wise,
right?
And Luck just retired early. But I think the biggest thing we take out of all of this is the fact that you and I were the only media people that got the trade right.
Yes, because Russell Wilson was 100% coming to Green Bay had Aaron Rodgers decided to go. And I think that's a big part of Aaron Rodgers staying in Green Bay was Green Bay's listen. It was like, listen, we got this lined up. If you want to go.
Right.
If I'm in that position, my ego doesn't allow me to say, yeah, give Russell Wilson my team.
Rodgers, for all of the bluster he's got, loves being a Packer.
He loves it. He loves the history of it. He loves being in Green Bay and being in Lambeau Field and being loved by the Packer fans. And I think Brett Favre had a conversation.
I was just going to say, I think Favre got in his ear and said, look, I left and the grass wasn't green around that other side.
Right. I went from an NFC championship to a Jets team, got hurt. I went to the Vikings. And guess what? I'm not going back to Minnesota and being loved by Vikings fans.
He's a Packer.
I came back to Green Bay, and they welcomed me back with open arms when I went to our arch rivals and beat the Packers twice.
Well, and one thing that Rodgers said when he was going through this decision-making thing was that he'd earned the right not to do OTAs. Well, if you're going to Denver, you're at every OTA. You're in the quarterback room all season long for every meeting. Right. I don't think he wanted to sign on for that.
Nope. And by the way, he also got that from Favre.
Yes, exactly.
That's what's driving me nuts about Packers fans. Is Packer fans are glorifying Brett Favre. I love Brett Favre. He's one of my all-time favorite quarterbacks. Brett Favre pulled this crap worse than Rodgers ever did. And Brett Favre was never at OTAs.
No. And he loved being begged to come back. I love Brett as well, but you never knew from year to year. And look at how many times they had to fly the private jet down from Minnesota to get him and bring him back for one more year. Rodgers isn't that guy.
Well, and Rodgers wants to be begged to come back too. Why wouldn't he be? It's a marriage, right? Every once in a while, you want your significant other to look at you and say, "Listen, we want you. I will do anything to keep you in my life and keep you here." I don't think Rodgers is asking for anything else. It's just like a marriage. If I don't tell my wife how much I love her and how much I appreciate her every once in a while, she's not going to be too happy with me either and think that I don't appreciate her.
Correct.
At some point, you have to court somebody you're already married to, because it's just as important as doing it when they're not with you and you want them to be a part of your life.
Absolutely. And Rodgers, for all of the bluster, I don't think he was ever asking that much. When they drafted Jordan Love, when we had so many other needs,
Right.
He's like, what's going on here?
Right. Well, and he saw Tom Brady saying, "I want AB," and them saying, "Okay."
Right.
And he just wanted a part of that. And Gutekunst, good for him being the good significant other in this situation and realizing, listen, I was wrong.
I think there was a father-in-law sitting on his shoulder in the name of Mark Murphy who said, "You're going to figure this out."
Yes, we want to keep him here. You made a bad decision. Fix it.
Exactly. So Jordan Love is gone. I don't know if he's going to Indianapolis or to Seattle.
He's gone. If you get a second-round pick for Jordan Love.
And I think it'll be good for Jordan Love to get out of this situation.
I think so, too. He was put in an unfair situation. I mean, I heard rumor that was a panic pick because he was trying to draft a wide receiver who was drafted by San Francisco the pick before, and he had already traded up.
Right.
And it was a panic button, and I could definitely see that.
I could too. And it was the day when Rodgers said he's coming back, and who knows what the contract is going to be. I think it'll be very cap friendly. Was a great day for Packers. I think it was a great day for Denver to get Russell Wilson from Seattle. And if Rodgers had gone to Denver, Russell Wilson would have been coming east to be a Packer back to his college state. And one place called that, I think, might have been Sports Talk with Dad that nailed that.
Yeah, right here, we nailed it. This is news that you don't get anywhere else. We don't have insiders, and yet we still got it right
because we took a look at it and it made sense. So, tell your friends, tell your families, hit the share button, and say, "Hey, these guys nailed it."
Yeah. Because you know what? We do look at things what makes sense. And as I always say, at least I teach my kids, if it makes sense, then we're making dollars. Because you can't make dollars without sense.
Exactly.
Boom. Drop the mic. One last call here is I do think Matt Ryan's on the move, and I could easily see Matt Ryan going to Seattle.
I could too. They've got the draft capital now to make it happen. I don't think they'll give up a first rounder.
No.
They'll give up some probably online talent. Maybe, I don't.
If I can get Matt Ryan for a second round pick,
I'm making the trade.
I make that trade all day long.
They'll get some other. Atlanta will get some other draft capital and maybe another player for it. But I make that trade.
I do too. But I think we've had our fun today. Let us know down in the comments below what you think. Let us know again about the baseball cards if you want us to go through them. We'd love to make that video, but we definitely want to make sure you guys would enjoy that. Do me a favor as well. Right here, like, subscribe, hit that notification bell so you get notified every time we drop a video so you can enjoy this as much as we enjoy making it. Before we head out, any last words?
Have a great weekend. Enjoy your family.
Definitely, I agree. And wait, we're not done yet. And now we're done. Thank you so much for joining in. We appreciate you watching. This has been Sports Talk with Dad.
Bye, everybody.